Only one player out of 1000 plays this rare opening as black, yet you can use it against absolutely everything. Your opponents will have no idea how to respond, while you will enjoy a solid position with a clear plan. You will feel confident, save time, and start winning games easily. What's up, chess player, and welcome to the Journey to Grandmaster, the place where you can improve every single aspect of your chess game. We are gonna play my favorite opening today, the ACCELERATOR defense. I'm gonna explain you why it's so great for you. Because first of all, it's so rare. 0.1% of chess players are playing what I am doing right now, the move e5, the starting position of the ACCELERATOR defense. That means that your opponent is just not really prepared for it. Okay, my opponent is of course very strong here, and I suppose he doesn't see this position for the first time. But if you play this opening on a consistent basis and you know some ideas, and I'm going to explain you here the ideas, then you are so much better prepared, you have so much more experience, because your opponent sees it maybe one time out of 500, and you see it in pretty much every single game when you play black. So when you play an opponent like that, it's a huge advantage. Secondly, it's very flexible. Like, you play it no matter what. You literally don't care what your opponent is doing. e4, d4, c4, knight f3, whatever he's doing. You can play d6, knight f6, knight e7, e5. I mean, that is just fantastic. And a lot of people are saying, well, but there is this endgame and it's so annoying, like the king cannot castle, that's a huge problem. Let me illustrate to you how you do it the right way. There is absolutely nothing to be scared of. I love to play this endgame. I win pretty much every single game I play here. There is a chance I might lose this one, so don't take my word on that. Like, I don't win every single game, but in most of the cases, like, my statistics is beautiful here. Why? Because people who are going for an endgame, they are normally not really confident in their ability, and they are afraid to play a full game, so they are going into the endgame. And here, the fact that you cannot castle doesn't actually matter, because there are no queens on the board anymore. And that means that your king is not really in danger, and it would be happy in the center, because you're going to control a lot of squares, and you just should not worry that you cannot castle anymore. You don't need to castle. Maybe my opponent is also going to play king to f2 without castles. And for black, we want to attack on the queen side. This move b5 is one of the key moves here. I just want to go forward. I want to put pressure on my opponent. Remember that your main goal in chess is always to put as much pressure on your opponent as possible. That way you increase the chance that he's gonna make a mistake, and that's exactly what you need. Because you think about it, if your opponent doesn't make any mistakes, you can never win in chess. Okay, so I get some space here, and then the next step of my plan is to put the knight on c5, where it's gonna attack this bishop, probably just knight d7. You can also go via a6, both are possible. Okay, bishop is3. Yeah, it's a little bit weird what he's doing. By the way, that's another advantage of this opening. Most of the people, they just don't know what to do, and then they get into trouble because of that. And they don't even understand how it happens, because let me just play bishop a6 for now, develop my bishop. It's so great along the diagonal, because they feel like the position should be great for them. They haven't done anything wrong, until suddenly they got themselves into trouble. Let's see whether I'm going to succeed with that here. Okay, knight f2. I don't like this thing that my opponent is doing. Now I can just play bishop to c5 with a tempo. He's not protecting it anymore. If he plays king d2, I'm going to just play rook d8 and create more threats for him. Otherwise, if he takes, that's just great for me. In general, like, you should be aiming to exchange a few pieces here. That helps you to get more space to solve all of your problems. And then, of course, I want to play king e7, bring my rooks to the d file, and I'm good to go. And the c5 square, that is the key one. You should always try to control it. Yeah, he plays knight d1 back, but that's bad because he's losing so much time. Okay, now I cannot play knight c5. Like, I can take and play knight c5, but that would help my opponent. His knight on d1 is clumsy. So for now, I'm gonna just play king to e7, just continue my development. When he takes, then I'm gonna take. He offers me a draw. No, sorry, LaTexEnjoyer, but I don't take any draws. I want to outplay you here. King to f2. Okay, now his bishop is well protected, but his knight on d1 doesn't have a single square to go. This is absolutely horrible. Yet, I also need to solve my problems. Like, my knight cannot go because the bishop is hanging, so maybe I'm gonna take at some point. For now, I can just activate my rook, make a few active moves. I'm not sure. Probably this rook is better, because this one I might need somewhere on the queen side. It's always like a difficult thing where to put your rooks. But you see here that there is absolutely nothing to be afraid of in this endgame. It's really great if you know a few key ideas that I'm showing you here. Okay, he's continuing to jump around with the knight. But now I'm kind of ready to play bishop takes e3. Knight takes, I play knight c5, I attack that bishop, and I threaten rook to d2 check. Yes, I have made all of my preparation, maybe except for this knight f5 check, but I don't think it's such a big problem for me. I'm gonna be able to kick it away with the move g6 afterwards. Like, I'm gonna play king f8, and then knight, and then g6. Otherwise, I achieve my goal. I place this knight on a beautiful c5 square where it puts pressure on this bishop, it puts pressure on the pawn. It doesn't mean that necessarily I want to take it immediately, especially when his knight is on c1 ready to jump there. But yeah, the knight is beautiful. By the way, if you exchange it, sometimes it happens, there is no knight there, and you just take the bishop, he takes back with the pawn, and then the second knight can go all the way to c5, and again, you have a beautiful knight. I have won a lot of games using this strategy. Okay, I guess I can just exchange the rooks. Like, I'm playing as black, and straight out of the opening, I have the advantage here. I have the initiative without, if you have noticed, I haven't done anything special. Yes, I knew that one idea that I should play on the queen side, but other than that, I have just developed my pieces normally. I have brought my king to the center. Okay, and now you're arguing that I cannot play rook d2? Really? So, okay, g2 is protected, and you want to play king to e1. But then I can play knight takes b3, and if you take with the knight, I have rook e2, and I just win. And if you take with the pawn, I take on b2. That's just fantastic for me. No, I can't play rook d2. I mean, in the worst case scenario, in case I have blunder or something, I can still go back. But I think this is fantastic. One thing he has, after knight takes b3, before taking with a knight, he can play knight f5 check. And then the knight is not hanging, so he can take with a knight. But rook takes g2, I'm like, my rook is so beautiful here. It's not like I'm risking anything. And of course, the important thing is when I take the bishop, I defend my rook on d2, so he cannot take it. Yeah, I feel like he's already in trouble here. But he's very strong. He's like 2400 rated player. And yet he's getting in trouble fast. So just believe my word, try it out. I don't say like, yes, just believe me without any proof. Try it yourself, try it in your games, and you're going to be surprised with how powerful it is. Yes, you need to know a few ideas, and I'm making my videos to help you with that. So you don't need to learn tons of theory, but yet still you are well prepared. Guess I can just take the pawn. I am threatening rook g1, like if you play knight takes a5 or knight c5, I'm just winning your rook. Otherwise, I'm attacking so many pawns. The rook on the second rank is literally the strongest piece that you might have. And also, you learn a lot if you play such endgames. You learn a lot about chess. You improve your level tremendously. So this opening is great for all possible perspectives. You don't need to memorize many variations. You basically have one thing that you have to remember where your pieces are going, and you do it more or less no matter what your opponent is doing. Okay, now I have a choice. I can play rook h2, or I can play rook takes c2. But then he plays knight takes a5, I can play rook takes b2, he plays knight takes e6. What about the move g6? He cannot go back to e3, so he has to go to d6. Is it good for me? Maybe it is, because I can continue with king to e7. How do you save this? I'm gonna go for it. How do you save this knight? And to say the least, I'm gonna be able to play rook h2, and then h4 pawn would be under attack. I could have started with rook h2, but now the knight really has almost no squares to go. If it goes to e3, rook e2 check, I win it. And if it goes to d6, I'm thinking I can play king to e7. I'm attacking the knight, my bishop is controlling all of those squares, And if he plays rook d1 to defend it, I play rook g1, I exchange the rooks, and I win the knight for free. He can play knight to h6, but that's so ugly. To say the least, I win the pawn there. Yeah, this opening was a success, and hopefully it would inspire you to try the ACCELERATOR defense yourself. And it's not like it works only if you play against weak players. I have played this opening against Hikaru Nakamura, against Linier Dominguez, world number 13, and I have completely crushed him out of the ACCELERATOR defense. I did lose to Hikaru Nakamura, but not because of the opening. It actually was great until the very last moves of the game, and then with just a few seconds on the clock, he managed to trick me. But yeah, he himself said that that was a fantastic game for me. And by the way, that inspired me a lot to continue playing in a lot of tournaments, trying to chase the Grandmaster norm. So that was a very cool experience. Okay, and it all started with the ACCELERATOR defense. Okay, so now I guess I can just take, and I'm winning so much pawns. I'm 100 times more active than he is. I have a bishop against the knight, with the pawns on both sides of the board, and the bishop is stronger because it can control both sides at the same time. Okay, I have to be a little bit careful. It's never too late to lose the game. You should always take a look at your opponent's opportunities and what kind of a counterplay he has. For example, after rook takes e4, you always have to start with the most active opportunity, so checks, captures, and threats. He has this knight c5, which is a fork, seems to be annoying, but I still have rook f4 check, rook e2 check, not the end of the world. But maybe I just take, why not, take on h4. In the best case scenario, you always want to create a distant passer for yourself. Yes, he's taken that pawn, which makes sense. But now I can take that one. I have 2 extra pawns here, and I have a bishop against the knight. And here I can play rook to c4, attacking the knight, and the c2 pawn. And the b4 pawn is protected. That is the advantage comparing to rook e2. Then b4 would be lost. He can take on e5, but I'm going to take on c2 and b2. That feels very promising. But still, it's not the end of the world, and I hope this endgame is going to be instructive for you in terms of how you convert your advantage into a full point, because it's one thing to get a big advantage, and another one is to convert it. By the way, notice king to e3 would lead to an immediate checkmate, rook to e2. He plays it! Oh my god! Ah no, I'm stupid. It's not a checkmate. I got so excited because I thought it is, but then I realized he has the f3. I mean, this is still a bad move, because I win so much time. I can play rook e2, and then king f3, e4 check, he has to go away, and that's great for me. Or I can just play bishop e7. Yeah, but for a second there, I thought it's a checkmate, and I'm like, why? Why on earth would you go there? That's literally the only check I have. Yeah, let me do it. I have 4 extra pawns on the king side, and those are 4 passers. It's a very rare situation when you have anything like that. Let me show you how I'm gonna use it. Of course, I need to be a little bit careful with that pawn, but I can even just play bishop b7, so that when he plays a6, I have a choice between sacrificing my bishop there, or just play bishop a8 and sacrifice it when the time comes. Okay, let's push my pawns. f5. a6. Yeah, bishop a8, why not? Because he still needs a lot of time till he even wins this bishop, and even afterwards I have 27 pawns for it. Okay, he plays knight b6, but then still it's not the end of the world, you still need a lot of tempi. Okay, let me give a check, maybe? Or maybe not. Yeah, let's give a check. Because then I'm gonna have g5 and f4 idea. Right, now I can grab a pawn. So when I sacrifice my bishop, I'm gonna have 5 pawns for the knight. Yeah, bishop c6. Of course, I need to be careful not to lose the bishop. In this case, he's gonna have a free queen, something like rook c1, but I even have rook a2 and just win that pawn that way. Okay. I have the move rook b3 check. Yeah, I guess rook b3 is the simplest because afterwards I have rook a3. That is the most technical solution. And by the way, that is why that rook f2 check was very important. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to make it with the tempo. He has rook c1 after. First of all, let me give this check so that his king has to go to e5 and then the pawn will go for free. And now I can play rook a3 and also I have rook a5 check if I'm gonna need it. Yeah, I expect rook to c1 to happen. And then I'm gonna have the last important decision. Do I take the pawn on a7? Yes. Or do I still try to, I can play rook c3 as well. Yeah, rook c3 feels very strong. And then just b3 and b2. That is the simplest. As long as my bishop is protected, he cannot really promote his pawn. Yes, he can win a bishop, but good luck with that. And otherwise, I want to play b3 and b2, deflect him from that. Or e3, e2 also should be good enough. Because e2 would threaten the queen with a check. This video is brought to you by Chestnut. Chestnut is making amazing chessboards that allow you to play online from a real 3D board. They have high quality chessboards, nice looking chess pieces, so that you can enjoy and having fun playing it. Chestnut boards also have so many training functions that I absolutely love to use to my training, and it helps me to improve my chess every day. This is, for example, Chestnut Evo. I love to use it for my trainings, but they have so much to offer you depending on your preferences and your budget. And the best part is you can just use the promo code JourneytoGrandMaster or click the link in the description to get a big discount on all of the Chestnut products. I have way too many pawns. Pawns are the soul of the chess game. Rook to b1. Okay, but that does not stop me from playing b3. Maybe he wants to play king d4, but I have rook d3 check. Not a problem. Yeah, at least like once he plays a8, he's not gonna be losing another tempo after b2, like in case of rook a1. Yeah, now it's time I sacrifice my bishop. And then maybe just push the h-pawn. That would be the simplest. Although I have to be a little bit careful with that knight because it's gonna come back to d5 and then, yeah, not that simple. Unfortunately, I cannot play e3 because of king d4. But I have rook c8 in that variation. Or just h5, knight b6, h4, knight d5. Even like if I sacrifice my rook, it should be winning. Yeah, let's just push the pawn. Don't have anything to worry about. That's a very good principle in the endgame. If you have, first of all, you need to try to create the passers. And then once you have it, you need to try to push it. Otherwise, why would you need it, right? Yes, he plays that. Now I thought the simplest is just to put my rook on f3. This is so solid here, protected. The king cannot come back. And basically, I want just to push my pawn. His only chance would be to activate all of his pieces and maybe create some checkmating threats. But I feel like he's way too slow with that. After knight to f4, I can even play g5 probably. But I still feel he has to try it, like knight to f4, knight a6 check, or rook a1, rook a7, something like that. Yeah, he's rather doing something passive defense. But yeah, just h3. Anyway, very important that his king is cut. He cannot really help himself. And maybe it's time to activate my king at some point. King d4. Now I'm wondering if rook d3 check, king goes away, rook takes d5 is winning. But of course, there is no need to take that risk. The simplest is just g5 probably, right? Goes back to e5, g4. Knight f4. Yeah, let's just bring the king. Let's play professionally. You always want to use your king in the endgame. That's, by the way, something 99% of chess players forget. The king is a very powerful piece in the endgame. You should not just ignore it. You should use it as an attacking piece. Okay, even still. Okay, he wants to take on b3 now, but h2 or f4 for that matter. Like if he takes now, I have f4, and the knight is pinned. And it's very important, of course, that I play king g5 so that, yeah, he takes, so that he's not going to have any checks. But what about f4? I feel like it's just winning. King f4, but just exchange everything. Rook takes e3. Ah, wait, rook b5 check. Yeah, always think about the most active opportunity. Somehow I forgot about the check. It's still completely winning, but at least he gets to live another day. Have to be a little bit careful not to blunder checkmate somehow. Hopefully I'm not. Yeah, and now the knight is still hanging, and then when the knight is going away, I can just play e3, and then even g5, and my pawn structure is still very solid. Or, alternatively, I can just play h2 to create the threat immediately of promoting and forcing him to be passive. If you force your opponent to be passive, that's always the best thing you can do, because then he doesn't have any counterplay, and you can just continue your threats. Yeah, h2 would be my choice. Let's see what he plays. He can play king takes e4 now, but just rook takes e3, king takes f4, and h2 or something. Knight d5. Some checkmate ideas. Yeah, let's just play h2 to make sure that he doesn't even think about checkmate ideas, because I'm immediately creating a threat of h1 promotion. I only have 33 seconds, so I have to be a little bit careful on the clock, but I don't think there is anything he can do here. Wants to play king e4 and then win the pawn. It's a little bit annoying. Maybe I played just g5 for now. And after, yeah, 12 seconds. Okay, now I really need to speed up. And after king takes e4, I want to play rook g3, threatening rook g1. Rook g1 is a big threat. And if he plays rook to h1, I can just play king h3. But I really have to make it fast, otherwise, because I need time to make a move for my opponent, might lose some time here. Yeah, so it's never too late to spoil your game, even if it seems to be simple. Your opponent, if he's smart, still trying to create some problems, some challenges, and he should, of course. But I think I never really gave him any real chances, and the position is still completely winning. Although probably I could have made it simpler. The knight, I mean, the knight is a very tricky piece. Like, he can think of some jumps here, but rook g1 is already coming, so he's like not in time. Maybe one tempo not in time, if the knight would be already on e7, but even that is winning. Like, even if I lose my rook, but my pawns are way too powerful to stop. He's thinking about the last opportunities. He cannot even play knight e7 actually, because of rook e3 check and I'm winning the knight. He can play knight f6, but then it's not able to give any checks for me. So actually it's not even simple for him to activate this knight in the first place. You're gonna love it! I have made a free 30-day training plan so you can finally fulfill your chess potential. Every day you're gonna get an educational video to improve your chess and put your knowledge into practice. I'm so excited to have you in our community where you have an opportunity to get your game to be fully analyzed by me completely for free. Make sure to secure your free spot before it's too late. The link is in the description. Knight takes f4 feels like he almost made it, because takes, king takes f4, and I just have one pawn left, but that is, of course, just enough. Have to be a little bit careful there, by the way. Knight takes f4, pawn takes, king takes, rook g1, rook b8, and now if I promote my queen, it's rook h8 checkmate. But of course, I just need to play rook f1 check first, and then I'm good to go. Let me prepare my queen. Why are you thinking for such a long time? It's not like you can reinvent America here. Okay. Into h3. And rook g1 is my next move. Or king g2. King g2 is also strong enough. And again, he still cannot use his knight properly, because knight e7 is still not an idea, but even if it would be, it doesn't help. His knight is just too far away from the actions. As well as his king. Like, if his king would be on f2, that would be a completely different story. But as is, the king just cannot help, it's cut. So it's not, sometimes it's important to go towards the center with your king, but most important, you have to be there where all of the main actions are happening. In this case, all of the main actions are happening on this queen side, so he needed to be there. Yeah, let's just play rook g1. He takes. I assume he's trying to flank me because I don't see any other chances. Okay, let me put my king back. And yeah, there is a chance he's gonna succeed with that because I don't have time and I'm clumsy with my real board moves, but I mean, I'm promoting the queen. I know how to checkmate you with the king and the queen. Yeah, he's really trying to do that. No, now he resigns. Okay, so I hope you found this game very instructive, it's very helpful for you. And in this video, I share with you everything you need to know in case your opponent doesn't go for that endgame and chooses the main line instead.